This book literally changed my life. The book that I'm talking about is called Flowers for Algernon. It's about a man named Charlie, and he has an intellectual or developmental disability, and back in the days when this book was written in the 1950s, they would call this mental retardedness, which we don't use those words anymore, but that is what they called it in the book. So I'm going to be using those sorts of terms in this video because that is what it's referred to, but please note that we don't usually use those words in our day-to-day language today. It is about this man named Charlie who has this disability, and then he gets this operation to make him smarter. After he gets this operation, he becomes extremely smart, and he even surpasses the scientists or researchers that gave him this operation, and he becomes a genius. But then he realizes that it's not all as it seems. Now I'm going to kind of get into how this has really changed my perspective and really changed my life in that way. So this book was really important for me to read, I think, especially at this stage of my life where I am beginning my honours journey at university and I am beginning the research journey. And when you're learning about research, you're always thinking about the ethics of the research, whether it is actually ethical to conduct this. For example, if you were studying something like the effect of alcoholism on pregnant women, that probably wouldn't be the most ethical research, especially if you are encouraging the behavior of consuming alcohol while pregnant or making the participants consume alcohol while pregnant. So that would be something that is very unethical. There are 4 principles for ensuring that research is ethical. 1, it has beneficence, so meaning that it will benefit the wider community or the wider society. 2, non-maleficence, which means that it does no harm. 3 is justice, so making sure that the research is fair, just and equal. And 4 is consent, and particularly informed consent. So ensuring that the participants that participate in the study actually know what they're getting into, what the possible side effects are, and what are the risks of being part of this research study. In this book, this really kind of opened my eyes to the world of research in a fictional way. So this is a fictional story, it's science fiction, it is fake. As far as I know, you can't improve someone's intelligence from an operation, but the author of this book, Daniel Keyes, had a bachelor in psychology, and I think that knowledge really helped him shape this book really well and shape it in a way that's very knowledgeable. For Charlie, who had an intellectual disability, he was not able to give full consent. He did not know the full effects of what was going to happen to him. They told him that, there could be side effects to doing this, and he just said yes because he just wanted to please other people, which can happen a lot in a lot of people that have cognitive disabilities and they can't fully understand. This book really opened my eyes to those ethical things about research in general, and even though they had the good intention of improving the intellect of people with a disability, there were risks and the person wasn't actually able to give full consent. So there are 2 very big ethical principles that are at war with each other, whether you want to do good and have a positive impact and also have consent. As a healthcare professional, and when you're working with people of these diagnoses, yes, you can read about it objectively and see the stats and the symptoms, the prognosis. You almost become numb to those things. There is, of course, value in having non-fiction research articles that is very objective and really tells it factually, but I think there is great value in fiction because it really puts you into the mindset of the person that you're reading from. And especially with this book that is in first person, you are Charlie, and I think fiction has that beautiful, gripping nature that allows you to step into the shoes of someone else. Although I don't know the research that Daniel Keyes did when he wrote this book, it does give a different perspective. I love how it merges the ideas of literature and literature as art form, but also the world of science. As much as you can read something objectively, reading it from a fictional point of view and really being able to place yourself in the position as a reader, this book is so good, and it's so emotional, and it really takes you on a whole journey of self-actualization and realization on how society really treats people with disabilities or people that aren't considered normal, because some of the things that Charlie goes through in his life are absolutely horrible. You are horrified when you read it, but you realize how common it is and how easy it is to slip into that mindset of having it normalized and then not realizing how horrible it is. This book also really plays a lot with the idea of ignorance is bliss. When he goes on this journey of finding more about himself and gaining more knowledge and gaining more intellect, he actually learns more about the burdens of life, and he learns more that people are not one-sided. They have so many different facets to their personalities, and they can present themselves in so many different ways, and he is almost jaded. Before, when he wasn't able to comprehend this, he saw everyone as a good person. He was always laughing and smiling, but as he gained that intellect, he realized people aren't as good as they seem. And that is almost like a metaphor of growing up, and it really deals with that idea of maturity, because even though Charlie at the beginning of the novel is a 30-year-old man, he is essentially at the stage of a child, and he rapidly grows up to be an adult. This book also explores things like the importance of love and relationships and having people that care for you, because even if you have all of the knowledge or all of the intellect, without love and relationships and human connection, your life feels empty and you don't feel like you have a purpose in life. And loneliness is such a big thing that we deal with every single day in this modern age, where even though we have become increasingly closer through social media, we actually have become more distant, particularly highlighted in the COVID-19 pandemic, where we are stuck at home every day. I also think what is genius about this book is the way that it is written. So the way that it is written is it's in progress reports. It's kind of his journey of starting the operation to finishing the operation. At the beginning, you see that his grammar and his spelling is very bad. You find it very difficult and clunky to read, but in the middle he becomes very smart and intelligent, and the words he uses are very superfluous, almost redundant, almost verbose words. And you see that shift in his character, and I love how the author has used language to shape the journey of the character, not just through what the text is about, but how it is written. Charlie also goes through some moments where he realizes that when he's become smarter and when he looks at people that have disabilities in his old class, he realizes that it's so easy to fall into that trap of just making fun of them and just following the crowd. So I really think that it's also a story about bullying and how easy it is to be a bystander and bully someone because it is the norm and because they're not as good as you or not as adept as you. And this story also explores how people react to him differently now that he has gained this intellect and that he's no longer the punching bag that he used to be. They used to tease him, make fun of him, and that would make them feel better about themselves. But now that he's surpassed them in intellect, they feel attacked by him, they feel threatened by his knowledge. And I think that's also another important lesson, is the lesson of knowledge is power. I'm going to read the first page of this book because I think that that was the thing that hooks you in the most. Once I started reading, I couldn't put it down even though it was so jarring. The first page, it says progress report March 3rd, but it's spelt in very bad writing. Dr. Strauss says that I should write down what I think and remember everything that happens to me from now on. I don't know why, but he says it's important, so they will see if they can use me. I hope they use me because Miss Kinnian says maybe they can make me smart. I want to be smart. My name is Charlie Gordon. I work in Donna's Bakery where Mr. Donna gives me $11 a week and bread or cake if I want. I'm 30 years old and next month is my birthday. I told Dr. Strauss and Professor Nemo I can't write good, but he says it don't matter. He says I should write just like I talk and like I write compassionins in Miss Kinnean's class at the Beekman College Center for Retarded Adults where I go to learn 3 times a week on my time off. Dr. Strauss says to write a lot everything I think and everything that happens to me, but I can't think anymore because I have nothing to write, so I will close for today. Yours truly, Charlie Gordon. I found it a bit difficult to read because I didn't want to make him out different, but I feel like you have to read it, and when I read it aloud it doesn't give that same effect. If you would love to be on an emotional roller coaster whilst you're reading a book, please read this. It opens up your eyes to so many different things and it makes you realize so many things, and it almost attacks you as a person and gets you to reconsider some of the things that you do in day-to-day life and the prejudices that you have, and rework them and reflect on them. Let me know if you guys have read this book in the comments down below and what you think about it. Let me know some other book recommendations that you think that I would like, because I really want to move away from the YA. Even though I love trashy YA novels when I just want a good time, I really want to read books that make me think and make me ponder things about the world and humanity and society. Like this video and subscribe. Click the notification bell so you can get updated when I upload new videos. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and I'll talk to you guys later.